Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our first ever virtual urban presentations. This is something we took from our Tidy Town Awards, what we call our regional presentations, so we hope you enjoy. To start off, my name is Emma White. I'm the one who has emailed you hundreds of times and probably talking to all of you on the phone at some point or another. I will also take a quick minute to introduce our team in case you don't know who they are. We have our CEO, Sabina Wills. And I'll have her give a quick little wave. And then we have Gary, our volunteer manager. Perfect. And then I don't see Sam or Anton here, but they're also part of our team and our board members as well. Hopefully they can pop in here in a little bit. But quickly, just how we will have today work, get over all the boring stuff first before the interesting stuff begins. I will have everyone on mute, and then I will call on your project name. Just be aware it won't be your group name, just because some groups have entered numerous projects. Once you hear your project name called, you'll unmute yourself in the bottom left corner, and then you'll take 1 to 2 minutes to talk about your project. If for any reason you start going over that 2 minutes, I will very nicely in the corner of my screen give a thumbs up just so you know to start wrapping it up so we can stay on time today. If I do mispronounce your project's name, I apologize. I am from America and I mispronounce very many project names incorrectly. I will apologize now. And then also, we are not doing any screen share today just due to time restraints. So I do apologize. I know photos can explain a lot more than our words, but we just want to make sure we stay on time so everyone can get a chance to present. But over the time while people are presenting, we encourage everyone to use the chat feature and network with each other, encourage each other. If you'd like to even network with someone after the event as well, we highly encourage that to share ideas and stories going across Victoria. Perfect. And then now I will pass off to Gary to give a little bit brief background on Keep Victoria Beautiful.
Thank you, Emma. Can you hear me today?
Yes.
Yes. Good. Okay. Yep. So Keep Victoria Beautiful started just over 50 years ago now. We started as an anti-litter campaign, and that came about by a strange method. Back in those days, there was a lady called Dame Phyllis Frost, who some of you may have heard of, others may not have. She was a very influential and committed advocate for both the environment and women's prisons. So making women's prisons better than they were in the day. She has been successful with both. From a Keep Victoria Beautiful point of view, she was driving up to Bendigo one day to present a speech. And while she was driving up the Calder Highway, a truck passed her, which wasn't a problem in itself. Until not long after, the truck driver decided he was going to have a spring cleaning session in his truck and started throwing rubbish out of the cabin window. So Dame Phyllis wasn't impressed about that at all, but she became less impressed when some of the litter started hitting her brand new car. She wasn't one to forget. After she'd done her speech and when she got back into Melbourne, she organised to see Sir Henry Bolte, the Premier of the day. And Dame Phyllis was the type of person, if she wanted to speak to someone, she usually got to speak to them. And she did that in this situation. And she went through the story as to what had happened to him and other various litter issues around Melbourne. And she finished up her talk to him with the phrase, "And I think we need an anti-litter campaign." And apparently Sir Henry went pale, rocked back in his chair, and he actually went silent for about 10 seconds, which was very unlike him, apparently. And when he came back upright, he said, "We need what?" And she said, "We need an anti-litter campaign." He says, oh, that's fine. I thought you said we needed an anti-liquor campaign." So effectively, that was the start of Keep Victoria Beautiful as an anti-litter campaign. We're still involved in litter and the environment in a general sense. And that's evidenced by both of our awards programs still having waste and recycling categories within them. We also now run a program called Leon, which aims at educating councils and assisting councils with preventing illegal dumping and also the prosecution of incidences of illegal dumping as well. The other thing that we're involved in fairly heavily is community volunteering. We have two different programs. The first one is Adopt a Roadside, which if you've been driving around Victoria, not recently, you may have seen signs promoting the fact that a Lions Club or a Rotary Club or a school is looking after a particular section of road. We've got about 140 groups across the state who do collect rubbish from outside their towns. They just want the entrance of the town to look better than what it otherwise would. The 140 groups look after just on 700 kilometres of road. And just to give you a picture of that, if you wanted to drive 700 kilometres into Victoria, you could drive from Orbost to Portland. So it's a significant piece of road. And collectively, the groups are removing a very, and I do mean very conservative, about 60 tonnes of rubbish per year. We think it's a lot more than that, but because we don't require the groups to measure or weigh what they collect, we go on the conservative side. Adopt a Roadside is actually a Vic Roads program, and we manage it under contract for them and have done so for quite some time. The other program we look after is a thing called Stationeers. That is actually a Keep Victoria Beautiful program, and it is supported by 4 rail authorities or managers in Victoria. That program is where community people want to beautify their local railway station. And primarily what they do is initially establish and then maintain garden beds around the railway station precinct. The benefits are reasonably obvious. Just in general, the station will look better for the community. It's usually also tidier, and the anecdotal evidence is passengers arriving at stations where it is being looked after, they feel much safer, as well as just having a better looking precinct to enter. From the volunteers' point of view, they're doing an outside activity. They're getting outside their home, obviously. They're, in a lot of cases, meeting people that they otherwise wouldn't meet. They're doing a physical activity. So there's lots of benefits all around from the Stationeers program. So that's a very quick précis of how Keep Victoria Beautiful started and where we come from and what we're doing today.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Gary. Now we'll go ahead and get started. I'll just start reading down through the project names. If that person is not here, I'll just skip over it. If for any reason I go through too quickly and I missed you, just wave, unmute yourself and let me know. And then at the end, I will also see if anyone is attending today that maybe couldn't have made their own sessions on different days. Perfect. So up first we have Brentwood Sustainability. All right, Grassy Woodland Mayan Corporate Gardens for Wildlife.
Oh, yes, hello, I'm Anna Mazzetti from Monash Council. I'm the Sustainability Education Officer. Hi, everyone. So this one was as part of our Gardens for Wildlife program, we're trying to encourage corporates and other organisations other than households to create gardens for wildlife. So this was a retirement village called the Nellie Melba Retirement Village, and they've built a huge complex. They have a corner block with these wonderful established trees, which is an old school site. So they invited us to come along and help them make this garden. And so we provided them with a report on what they should do in this space or what they could do in this space. And we involved the bushland crew in this as well. So they helped give some advice. So it's really hard to do this in 1 to 2 minutes. I feel really rushed. So they wanted to improve the landscape to provide an oasis for wildlife in an urban environment and to also link up with our bushland areas. What they ended up doing was they planted 2,000 Indigenous species which was mostly grasses and wildflowers. They involved the residents in planting up this area. They also put in nest boxes, they put in rocks, they put in logs. They spent over 1,000 hours altogether volunteering to plant this area. And also the residents built nesting boxes, which they put up in the trees. And now they can go out there and they enjoy being in this really natural space, because the gardens of the retirement village are very sort of traditional, old-fashioned, so very manicured. So they love going out in this space. A lot of the residents there and new residents, they've just moved out of their big houses from like Mount Waverley, Glen Waverley, where they've really enjoyed having much bigger gardens. Some of them are even members of the Friends of groups. So for them to be able to go out and help in this garden and bring some wildlife into this big retirement village has been a really fantastic transition for them as well, from their gardens to the bigger complex. And I think it's been really great social interaction as well. And during COVID, they were able to come out and plant. So that was also a nice opportunity for them to get out and, yes, be involved with nature. And the relationship between council and the retirement village, they're a big organisation actually based in New Zealand. So they have a few villages around, I think it's mostly the eastern suburbs. So they're starting a new one in Whitehorse, and they want to build another garden there. So we've sort of hopefully started this this new approach to gardens and retirement villages. And it also acts as a demonstration garden for other corporate organisations who are just around where that village is. So they can also enjoy the gardens as well. So is that 1 to 2 minutes?
Yep. Thank you very much, Anna. Up next, we have Mackie Road Neighborhood House Sustainability Hub.
That's me. I'm Daniel, also from the City of Monash. I'm a Sustainability Officer. The Mackie Road Neighbourhood House sits in Mulgrave, and it houses a range of community services. So there's scouts and guides, there's a childcare centre, they offer cold employment, art and yoga classes. There's also a really, really small public library. The Mulgrave Public Library is, I think you can probably get about 10 people in it at one time. The goal of the hub was to keep all those offerings to the community going, because they're great, and to provide a continual learning space for residents to understand how to be more sustainable at home. So really just practical kind of everyday things that most people can sort of afford to do. So we basically took the existing building and added a whole bunch of elements that we thought offered best bang for buck and would help to answer most of the common sort of sustainability questions that we get. So those upgrades included a 10 kilowatt solar and a 1.2 kilowatt hour battery system. We put in about 24,000 litres of water storage for flushing the toilets, irrigating food crops, and keeping the surrounding. We added some new gardens. That was also to keep those healthy. We added quite a large biodiversity garden with a frog bog and a swale, which I visited yesterday, and it's still doing really well. There were just sort of the regular lighting upgrades as well. And we added some, I guess that we enhanced some of the security features in the building. We added timing for lights just to help reduce energy use and make it easier for the occupants. We also made it a bit more inclusive for people with disabilities. This part of some of the classes that they offer there are for intellectually disabled or physically disabled residents. So we widened some of the paths nearby and included a much more user-friendly watering system for the community garden. All the information about the upgrades were captured during the process, and the plan is to have an interactive display that shows the process so that people can come, if they want to learn about the biodiversity garden, they can go through the whole process and see it. It doesn't necessarily mean that we need a sustainability officer on site constantly there. There's self-learning that can take place. We did run some community events pre-COVID, and we ran some virtual events mid-COVID, and we've already received feedback from the Mackie Road community that they're really keen to do more community planting days, and the plan is for us to host more events on site. I think that's my time.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Daniel. Up next, we have beads and seeds kits. No. All right.
Hey again. Hello, everyone again. So I run the Green Shoots program, and as part of that program, we run a lot of community planting days, bushland sort of re-veg, habitat improvement programs. And when COVID came around, we, like everyone else, had to cancel all those programs. So we thought, well, what else can we do to keep the community engaged with nature and with helping to improve the habitat? So one of the upcoming workshops was a bee house making workshop. So what we ended up doing was we thought, well, we'll bring it to them. They can't come to us, so we'll bring it to them. So we created a bees and seeds kits program where we put together, it was in the end 630 households received a kit, which we all put together ourselves. In the kit was a Indigenous seed propagation, so everything you needed to propagate some, as well as to create a bee house. And then we also had, our poster and some of the wildlife cards, the Connie's wildlife cards, and a little sticker booklet and a Guns for Wildlife booklet. So they all went out we hand delivered them, and this was in sort of the first lockdown, I guess. So it was all kind of, a really bit of a scary time for people, and people felt really isolated before we kind of got used to being isolated. So they were so grateful to us for coming to their house and delivering something so positive that then they could do with their family, with their kids who are at home, something active, something positive. So we knew there was a lot of webinars and things going on, but we wanted to do something really active, like we normally would with our workshops. So from that, we had all these people propagating Indigenous plants for the first time, and also finding out about native bees for the first time. A lot of people didn't, we had a lot of emails saying they couldn't understand the difference between European bees and native bees. They didn't even know about native bees. And as we know, there's, more than 1,700 different types of native bees. So from that has sprung, I guess, a whole new group of households that we wouldn't normally have come along to our habitat improvement groups. So we felt like it was really, really good entry point for those people who hadn't really got out there and been involved with re-veg. To then, we hooked them up with our Guns for Wildlife program. We then created a Facebook group, a Green Shoots Facebook group. So now we have about 140 people on that group, and they're all posting photos of their seedlings they're growing or their bee houses, or even now they're off asking advice of each other, like I've got this little patch, what sort of Indigenous plants will grow well in this shady area, or I've seen this insect or bird, who knows what this is, what's this plant? So sometimes I might go up and ask the bush crew or our horticulture crew, and I'll get back to them on that, or they'll also comment on it for each other. So that has been such a positive program. It really has. And it was also good for us as a team, wasn't it? When we've got April here and Daniel and Connie all from Monash. And we got the chance also to come together and put together those kits and do something really positive, for our community. We all went around and took it in turns and delivered them with our electric van. So I think it helped us too with our mental health, as well as creating a whole new network of people out there who now also have joined our Guns for Wildlife program.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Anna, again. Up next, we have the Clayton Zone project.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Connie. I'm from the City of Monash. This project came about as a result of ongoing waste-related issues in and around Monash University, Clayton. Some of those issues included illegally dumped waste, overfilled curbside collection bins, heavy contamination in recycling and green waste bins, ongoing litter, bins being left out, and just, ongoing resident frustration as a result of many complaints from long-term Clayton residents who were a little bit frustrated with how their area was looking. We quickly got in contact with Monash University Clayton and formed a really good relationship with them. The project now employs 3 Monash University students, and their role is to head out on site and inspect the area for a number of the issues that I just discussed previously. So the project aligns with our litter action plan, which sits within our environment and sustainability strategy. And the aim of this project is to educate the community in relation to the correct ways to dispose of their hard waste and correct ways to recycle and manage their curbside collection bins. The role of the waste monitoring officers is to head out and investigate the areas surrounding Monash University, and they collect data as well as, prior to COVID, educate residents in the area face to face. COVID put a bit of a hold on that. We could no longer educate face to face. And at the moment, we are on hold for inspections, but hoping to begin that in the next few weeks now that restrictions have lifted. We saw a huge drop in some of the issues during face-to-face education, and due to the fact that it's a very transient population, students moving in and out regularly. Some students are based in the area for as little as 3 months, and some are there for the duration of long-term courses. This project will continue so long as students are moving in and out of the Clayton area. So it's here for the long haul, and we're really passionate about positive behaviour change to the Monash University students and neighbouring properties, and helping them to create a better education outcome to those residents. Some of the, issues we faced were during COVID-19. We saw a huge influx of illegally dumped waste during that period of the first lockdown. People became really anxious and needed to make room for parents working from home, students working from home, and we saw a huge increase in illegally dumped waste during that period. We basically collected everything that was placed out, and education was minimal during that time, but it has definitely decreased now and plateaued, and we're ready to start up our inspections as soon as we can. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Connie. Up next, we have the Little Litter Project. Okay, going there. Mission, acts of random kindness. No. Sustainable household. Anyone's here? All right. The Marine Litter Project. Marine Champions. All right. Environmental education. Share, repair, care. No. All right. Ascot Vale Little Free Pantry. Oh, Lisa. Perfect. I think we all good.
Hi, can you hear me? All okay?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Elisa from Ascot Vale Little Free Pantry. Our pantry is a grassroots community project that addresses food security in our neighbourhood. It works on the principle of take what you need and give what you can. We receive donations from the public and local businesses. Now, our patrons and donors, we're happy for them to remain. Making food in a time of need is greatly appreciated. The pantry does provide a place for individuals to feel connected to their community, both as a donor, as a local community participant, and they just enjoy being able to help each other out in a time of great need. As part of this, as part of running a little free pantry, we also network with many other pantries locally and abroad to help us decrease food insecurity within our community. They support us, we support them. Often we will help each other out locally on a local level and just support each other in the endeavour to reduce food insecurity. In the past year that we have been going, we have achieved quite a lot, and obviously during COVID we have an increased need for food for people who are out of work, so we have been really busy over this time. So it's great to see that our community have taken on in the endeavour to support each other, as well as being able to feel like they have something there if they are in need. It's been a great project. We worked from a zero budget, so all of our equipment, the majority of our building equipment and time is all volunteer and donated through leftovers from people's building projects or anything people could donate. We would rather use what they had than purchase anything new. So we kept the sustainability side of it in mind. Now, we have done so well that we've expanded quite a bit, and recently we've decided that we're adding some wicking beds to be able to provide some fresh food for our patrons. So that has been great, and we have luckily received some government funding to help us with this project so that we can support our volunteers in doing so. We also support a lot of other pantry people, other communities to set up their own pantries as well. We also participate in community events, festivals, sustainability events, and work with schools in helping them understand food insecurity within our community. We share our knowledge with other people in helping them build pantries and set up on what is needed within their local community and help them provide a way of reducing their food insecurity in their areas. We've really enjoyed the project. It's obviously an ongoing thing. It's not just a one-off. It will continue on for as long as our community wants it. We did act upon what our community wanted. There was a call out on the Good Karma Network saying that we would probably do with a pantry of this type in our area. And I turned around to a friend and said, how about it? Shall we do it? And he said, yes. And we just went from there, and it just went on, and it was greatly received by our community. And it's been a great project to be part of and continuing to be part of as a volunteer and assisting running it. We've also, the area around our pantry has also been built up to make it very inclusive for people in the community to come to events that we hold here or that we participate in on a whole. So it's been a really lovely project, and we're glad to have been part of our community in providing this for our community and keeping it going. We also have a group of volunteers that also help us do this, but things have changed during COVID. So even though there is a lot of increased need for food, we have less volunteers due to maintaining the distances required by our current laws. So thank you for having us as part of the awards, and we've really enjoyed doing what we're doing. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing. Up next, we have volunteer training for bushfire and drought prevention. All right, and then we have take-home sustainability. Renature. Woodlands Park Stormwater Harvesting and Greening Project. All right, Sustainability Champions.
Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie from Moonee Valley City Council, and I'm chatting to you today about our Sustainable Champions program, which is essentially a program to enable our residents to deliver their own environment programs out in the community. And the reason we designed, well, we actually borrowed a similar model from a neighbouring council, and we've shared this model with other councils as well, because we know that the projects and programs that are owned and managed by the community are so much better received than the ones when the council come in and say, we think you should do this because this helps us achieve this target. And we're really lucky in Moonee Valley because we have a really active, passionate community, and Elisa, who just spoke, will know about that. She's involved in a lot of the projects that have come out of the Champions. So from a practical sense, it's open to anyone who lives, works or studies in Moonee Valley, and we accept around 20 participants a year. They participate in 10 weeks of training after hours, 2 hours every Thursday evening, and we try and cover everything they'll need for project planning. So we cover risk communications, volunteer management, how to get resources and work through grant processes. I have an external facilitator, so it's really great. She can deliver a lot of the content, and then I'm there to give that council perspective as well. And it's been running for 3 years, and at the end of each training program, the participants will go away and start to develop their own specific project ideas. Sometimes they work individually and sometimes they work as groups. And then they come back to us in a couple of months and let us know where things are at with that. And I've been incredibly surprised actually so far by the scale of the projects. Some are just one-off events, for example, but we've had some longer term programs like the Repair Cafe, which I know Elisa and her group are part of. We've had a sharing shed, which is setting up. COVID delayed that set up a bit, but hopefully, fingers crossed, they'll be able to get up and running soon. We have an online bulk buy group. We have the Earth Crusaders, which are now a not-for-profit sustainable education organisation. We have a group that's just started to work with schools on reducing waste in canteens. So the great thing about this is that they can go off and work on things that they are particularly passionate about with the skills that we've given them. And as a council, we stay connected and endorse those programs and give them support where we can through our grants funding, or, you know, connecting them with the right people, providing venues and support in that way. So yes, we did struggle a little bit this year. We had to transition the training to online, but people have adapted really quickly to that. I think they're used to that process now. But we look forward to going back to face-to-face training next year. So look, this is building interest every year. It's getting bigger and bigger. And if you're thinking of running something similar, please get in contact with us. We're always happy to share our templates and our program training formats for any councils that are interested. But it's really worthwhile program for upskilling and enabling your community. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Up next, we have Living Up Melbourne. All right. Libby's Koala and Wildlife Crusade. Waverley Garden Club Open Garden Day 2019.
I'll be presenting that just on behalf of Waverley Gardens. They've asked me to present. So the Waverley Gardens Club invited Monash Council to be part of their open day in November 2019. It's the second time we've worked together on an open day with them. And we think they do a really good job of promoting, I guess, the sort of key social wellbeing elements that councils sort of strive really hard to achieve but struggle to by themselves. The club is about 300 members, so they're a pretty strong club. I think they're one of the largest garden clubs in Victoria. And the sustainability team shares, I guess, a bunch of tick boxes with them. So sort of us and the club are big fans of self-sufficiency, growing food crops, sustainable living, value of nature, and the importance of tree canopy retention. So we're big fans of what they do. On the day, 8 club members opened up their gardens. They all have sort of different themes and styles. Some of them are permaculture, some of them are sort of a traditional European. Some of them are a bit of there's a couple of, one fella's got an aeroplane canopy that he's built into his garden. So he has a wood-fired pizza that blows smoke through the back of the plane. So it looks like a plane's crashed into his roof, but it's actually part of his garden. It was really cool. So the idea is that everyone can sort of get together and share tips on gardening. And there's also a bit of humble bragging, I guess. So it's those club members are able to show off sort of all the good stuff they've done. Each house had between about, or each garden, sorry, had between about 280 and 460 visitors on the day. It was also a really wet day, so they were really happy with the numbers. They worked out that there was roughly between 2,200 and 3,600 total visits on a single day. Everyone had a great time. They also picked up about 30 new club members as a result of the day. They received a lot of really, really positive feedback. A lot of people that attend the open day are typically garden rookies, so they're looking to better understand the process. And the club itself is really inclusive. They're just generally, they're typically lovely older people, but they have a couple of younger members as well. We've had we found as a council there, as a community organisation there, really easy and fun to get along with.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Daniel. Up next, we have #MyAction2020.
Hi everyone, I'm Eva. I'm from Monash Youth Ambassadors. We're a group of young people aged 10 to 25 living in the city of Monash. So our hashtag #MyAction2020 was created to encompass all of the actions YABS members take in response to the results from our Monash Youth Report. The hashtag reflects the agency we have as young people living in Monash to take charge and create change. It is a way of celebrating and sharing the achievements of young people and helping to connect them to parts of the community that can provide support. Creating a hashtag was identified as a contemporary and successful way of relaying ideas and projects with young people in Monash, using social media to our advantage to keep information thematic and relevant to their concerns and current projects within the community. I'll pass over to Tana, who's also a member of Monash Youth Ambassadors, to finish off our presentation.
Hi. So the hashtag #MyAction2020 was meant to be used by all for sharing personal actions related to improving youth outcomes, and it deliberately makes reference to Monash Youth in the capitalization of the MY in the acronym, creating a double meaning of agency that we have as individuals and the support we also receive by Monash Youth Services and Monash young people in general. The hashtag quickly grew to be one of our best way to reach people as the new normal began to set in and our projects moved online. It was an idea to add on top of our report-oriented projects and became a key element to identifying all of those projects and how we got them into the community. This year, Monash Youth Ambassadors have run a lot of events, especially online. So some of those include our sustainability challenge, a driving safety workshop, a social media mental health bubble challenge, a lockdown solidarity video, a walking path promotional video, a self-care video thread, and we'll soon be commencing some educational and life skills webinars and a Monash tree adoption and planting campaign for young people. This hashtag has been used not only by Monash Youth Ambassadors, but also by people taking part in our challenges and other community projects, such as Monash Youth Committee and Monash Youth Services in general. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much to the both of you. Up next, we have Precious Plastic Monash University Plastic Plague Project.
That's me again. Precious Plastics Monash asked me to speak on their behalf. I'm going to say Precious Plastic Monash one more time, and then I'm just going to call them PPM because it's a tongue twister for me. So the Precious Plastic Monash Plaque Project was led by Monash Uni student team, which are members of a larger sort of Precious Plastics organisation. Precious Plastics it's all about promoting the the continual use of plastic. So it's not a disposable or a single-use item. They offer open source technology on how everyday people can take plastics and turn it into something really useful and valuable, and typically they're quite beautiful. The aim of the project was to increase awareness of the recycling process amongst young people. Monash Council helped with establishing the connection of PPM and 10 local schools, and we also, Anna was there to help present the plaques to the schools with PPM. The school students involved in the project from the 10 local schools collected the material that was melted down and processed into plaques, with the school choosing the motto. Each school collected around 1.5 cubic metres of recyclable material, which PPM processed into about 12 kilograms of really bright, colourful lettering that helped make up the plaque. The students gained an understanding of that remanufacturing process through videos made by PPM, which included their really cool machine that they have, which basically shreds, heats up, extrudes, and then places the liquid plastic into a mould. The videos also included some of the key learnings that the students gained from being part of the plaque project. I think the sort of big take home for a lot of the students was seeing what a really long process that was, how involved it was of just taking raw material and turning it into something else. There were about 700 students directly involved with collecting material and being part of the project, and another 4,500 students indirectly through school discussions and plaque presentations. The Monash Sustainability team really valued the opportunity to work with Precious Plastics Monash on this project. We're currently working on a new project with them and Monash Youth Services called Talking Trees, and it's about young people adopting an established tree in their neighbourhood, and PPM are providing the signs for that. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Danielle. Up next, we have War on E-Waste.
Hello, I'm April Williams from the City of Monash. Thank you. So when the state government announced that they would be banning electronic waste from landfill, we thought, how can we promote this as wide as possible and get the message out? We knew we could go to our normal festivals and events and talk to people, but we really wanted to reach the biggest amount of people in the biggest way possible. So we thought, what better way to do that than to draw on the star power of Craig Rucastle from the ABC's War on Waste and get him along to be the guest speaker at a big event. And so we partnered with Monash University, both because a very hard to reach demographic for us at council, which is younger people, but also because we didn't have a venue big enough to fit all the fans of Craig Rucastle in. So they were happy to provide that venue for us. And we partnered with Sustainability Victoria in the terms of the grant. And I think the event was very successful because not only did we sell out all the tickets, even though they were free, we also had lots of other points of interest for people apart from Craig at the event. So we had lots of stalls from different Monash University groups, including Precious Plastics. We had council stall to be able to answer everyone's questions around waste and recycling. And then we had a Q&A panel after Craig's keynote speech, which included a person from our team and Craig and Monash University. And our host for our MC for the night was able to use a hashtag, Monash War on E-Waste, on the night to take live questions for the panel. And it was the first time that Monash Council's ever trended on Twitter, which our communications team was thrilled with. And when we closed the event and had the evaluation of the event, lots of people rated it, 10 out of 10, they loved it. And one of the reasons was because we were currently going through the waste crisis and people were losing a lot of faith in what was happening with recycling and waste. And it was actually a really positive event for them to get together and see there's another 1,000 people that are like me, that live locally or are part of this community that really care about waste, and what better having Craig there to get everyone laughing and excited about being a waste ambassador. So we saw a massive increase, 50% increase of e-waste dropped off to our transfer station in the following month. which we hope had something to do with the event because we promoted our transfer station continually throughout the event. And we also decided, because there was such interest in having an event like that, at our transfer station, which we call the War on Waste, where we could take people through, show them what happens to e-waste and other items at the transfer station, and then also have workshops around recycling and composting and worm farms. So up until COVID interrupted that, we did that a couple of times, and they were really successful as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much, April. Up next, we have Move It for Good. Riverside Park. Union Road's streetscape improvements, age-friendly streets. Wipe Out Waste. Okay. Diggers Rest CFA Diggers Rest Junior Football Network Club. Clad Engagement. All right. Hop into Action. No. Leadership and Self-Esteem Group. All right. No One Gets Left Behind.
Hi, I'm Emily from No One Gets Left Behind. So No One Gets Left Behind project is a project developed by Specialist Hoops Basketball. The Specialist Hoops started in 2017 in order to give kids and adults with disabilities the opportunity to play a recreational sport and a team sport that they may not be able to compete in as a normal sport for themselves. It allows them to participate in a free, non-judgmental environment. And that's where we get No One Gets Left Behind from, because it allows everyone to participate and have opportunities that everyone is allowed to have and has the right to be able to participate in sport and activities. We currently have 50 members. We started weekly sessions in July 2018, and we started with 5 members and have grown to 50. Even now during COVID-19 this year, we are still doing weekly sessions, obviously not on court, but we are engaging through Zooms, where we're getting kids active and providing that source of communication. We've also connected with an individual from America, and he came on and we had Zooms with him and connected the kids with people outside of Australia. That allows them to know that not just here in Australia, but everywhere, we're all connected, we're all in the same boat, and it allows everyone to have the opportunities of being connected and developing social skills, physical health and well-being. It's just a great way for people with disability to have the same opportunities as everybody else. We are also expanding, so we're also being able to have a second venue for 2020. So we're going to have 2 programs in 2 different areas of the West. So we're going to have Melton and in Bacchus Marsh. So we're providing a wider aspect for more people to be able to participate in sport. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Emily. That's incredible. Up next, we have Innovation in Large-Scale Passive Street Tree Irrigation.
But I'll keep talking muted, shall I? Hey, so I'm Marshall Kelleher. I'm from Melton City Council. We're saying hello from Melbourne's rain shadow. So all you Monash people there with your lovely green backgrounds, that's our rain you've got there, greening those things up. We have 350 to 450 mil of rain a year in our development corridor and entire municipalities. That's pretty dry compared to the 1.5 metres of rain that falls in the Dandenong and the Dandenongs, that then developers and their contractors pull those trees out of the ground up there, and they're all happy, take them all the way through Monash, all the way across town and put them in the ground over there. and they wonder what they've done wrong sometimes, but they flourish. We think we're pretty clever because we're getting developers to lift their game. We're doing that because of a range of things that have occurred. In 2018, Melton adopted its integrated water management plan. City West Water said, not City West Water, Western Water said no more Class A recycled water going to development sites. Got to think of a different way of being clever with water. The PSP's precinct structure plan said to the developers, you will do integrated water management plans. And then us in our planning permits said to the developers, you will put passive irrigation on all of the street trees that you put in that integrated water management plan. They all threw their hands up and said, oh, how are we going to do that? Living Rivers gave us a bunch of funding, which we then engaged Alluvium, University of Melbourne and Bruce Pitt Dixon to come up with us and with the development industry some solutions to be able to deliver passive irrigation to street trees that cost hundreds of dollars, not thousands of dollars. Part of that process, we came out and we looked at the holes in the ground, the really good work that Monash had done, the really good work that Melbourne City Council had done, the awesome work that Manningham and Moreland had done, all those M's. So clearly Melton is one of those team of M municipalities that were thinking about this stuff. We came up with some solutions. So these solutions are, first of all, cost effective. If they're not cost effective, we're going to have really big fights with the development industry to get them in. They considered our soil type. So the soil type in the east is completely different to the soil type in the west, the volcanic plains that we reside on through there. So we might put some water on the ground and it'll take a long time for it to absorb. We'll do the same thing in Monash and it'll absorb into the ground pretty quickly. So those trees have a good chance of getting that water. These things are all really important, which then sizes up what's the chance of us getting some water off the road, not letting it go down to the stormwater network, but actually putting it into some pits in the ground and that water absorbing into the soil profile and the trees that are there taking that water up and actually having a much better chance of survival, and not just survival, but thriving. So that's the purpose of the work. We have delivered now since 2019, 2,000 of these sites. The developers have delivered 2,000 of these sites. We expect another 100,000 to be delivered over the next 20 to 30 years as our population grows from 170 now to about 400,000 to 500,000 people. And because of this work, there's a better chance that those streets that those people live in will be cooler and greener because of the work that we're doing, and ultimately a much more resilient community because of the urban resilience that we're building into the development process. Ta-da!
Perfect. Thank you so much, Marshall. And that was the last one I have on my list, but did I miss anyone or read through any too quickly? Did everyone present their projects? Perfect. And I did see that Kang had some issues with his audio. He sent through a link to a video up in the chat. So if you guys would like to watch that, feel free. But otherwise, I'm going to pass off to Sabina to say some final words. Oh, you got to unmute.
The old unmute, good on me. Okay, thank you everyone so much. I really enjoy these sessions. These are the highlight of my year. I love hearing about projects and it's been really inspiring. So as Emma said, we took this from Tidy Towns where we do regional presentations, and this has worked really well this year doing it via Zoom. So yes, you've all entered your projects and your projects have all been judged, and so that process is totally finished. This is a chance where we get to hear about other projects. We've also got the last one of these tomorrow at 10 o'clock. They are also on our website, and I do highly encourage you to watch them because everyone's just so passionate about their projects, and it's always great to hear about other projects. And I think, yes, we have awards, but I think the sharing of the projects is really important. So yes, so the next step in the process, if you don't want to watch tomorrow's or on the web, is the awards night, of course, which everyone's interested in, and that's on 12th of November. and it'll be an online event, which we had to work out obviously earlier with the restrictions. But yes, hopefully you're all enjoying going out and seeing a bit more nature now that we're allowed to do, and people, of course. But yeah, thank you everyone. And I think Emma's going to unmute us all so we can give a actual clap to everyone. But thank you everyone, really enjoyed today.
Thank you so much everyone for coming. Great work. And we will virtually not see you guys on the 12th of November.
Yes, thank you so much.
Bye.
Congratulations,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, everyone.
Bye. Thanks for the
Good to hear
opportunity.
from you all.
Bye.